air with none other than Oracle. She's worked with the legendary Tupac. She is currently working with Morris Day and the Times Band, and also she worked with Yo-Yo. You cannot forget about Yo-Yo. How you doing tonight?
Doing wonderful. Thanks for having me on, man.
Hey,
so excited about it.
You're most certainly welcome. I've been looking forward to this opportunity as well. Before I get into this interview, I told you this over private message as well, but I want to say this on behalf of myself and the rest of the fans. Thank you so much for what you did on the Me Against the World album, because I can say for a lot of us, not only Tupac's vocals, but your vocals as well helped all of us through a lot of hard times. So I want to say personally, thank you.
Oh, my goodness. Wow. That is a blessing to me, and I'm going to tell you why. Because the way that I function, I'm sure you see on my wall, it says I'm a purpose-driven artist. And when you tell me things like that, it lets me know that what I was called to do for that moment was done. And so that means so much to me, just as much as it does to all of you. And I'm so thankful for that. So thank you all. Thank you all for the love and support. Yeah.
the songs you did actually helped me get through my brother's death. So I want to say thank you for that. Lord Knows is actually pretty much a song that I can really relate to, especially the situation of how he passed. So that song holds a special place in my heart. So.
Oh wow! I'm so sorry to hear about your loss, man. I'm honored to have contributed to your comfort and your peace and healing in that. I'm so sorry to hear about your loss. My condolences.
It's been almost 5 years, but I feel he's with me every single day, and this is something he always wanted to do is production. So I know he's most definitely here every single episode. So, so I'm going to get into this interview, and I have to ask you, what made you decide to get into music in the first place?
Oh wow! You know, just like my brother said, I literally don't remember. And I know our stories are parallel in that, but when I was born, Mo was already performing, doing Michael Jackson, Al Green, you name it, everything. And so if I could tell you my most memorable recollection, I would have to say singing probably about between 3 and 5 years old at a church called Antioch of Long Beach. At the time, it was Antioch Missionary Baptist Church. I'm not sure if a lot of people have heard of that place, but Pastor Wayne Chaney Jr. is the pastor of that place, and he was also on Preachers of L.A. And so at the time, though, his grandfather was the pastor of the church, and there was adult choirs, of course, and the youth choirs, but there was no choirs for the kids. And me, I was like, like Tina Turner in the beginning of her movie, when she kept ad-libbing and going all crazy in the choir. That was your girl. So what they did was, Pastor Joe, he said, I'm gonna make her a pastor's choir. That's my pastor's choir right there. So they developed a whole choir for me. And I still sang in that choir and all of the adult choirs. And from there, it was just like my family began to have a gospel group. I was the lead singer at 5. We toured and, just worked with all kind of people. I grew up in a camp with, I don't know if you ever heard of Edwin Hawkins and Walter Hawkins, but if you ever heard, oh, happy day, I know you heard that.
Yeah.
Oh, happy day. So, yeah, that whole family and that whole movement, I was blessed to be raised in because they passed through Antioch all the time. You had Andre Crouch, the Clark sisters, and James Cleveland, and so on and so forth, So it was kind of like the best of both worlds, raised in the major gospel field and still grew up amongst my people like Snoopy and Warren G and the whole nine, So that's the most time I can remember when it all began.
Actually, when you brought up singing in gospel choirs, that was actually later on in the interview. But since you brought it up, I saw a post on your IG, and I think I commented on it as well. And I actually asked if that was you in the choir. But in 2003, you were singing backup vocals on BET's Celebration of Gospel. What was that experience like being on the BET network?
That was an amazing experience. Actually, we actually didn't even know that we would end up being the house choir for that night because we were the personal choir for Walter Hawkins. And they were actually being honored that night. He was being honored that night. And so what happened was they told us that we were going to be the house choir for everybody. And wow, we ended up working with Kelly Price, Shirley Caesar, Mary, Jaheim, Steve Harvey, of course, B.B. Winans, George Duke. Oh, my God, I could go on. Stephanie Mills. Just so many people, you know. And so the experience was like almost unreal. Smokey Norfolk had me crying in my greens and stuff at sound check. It was just like, it was amazing, you know. So I couldn't do really nothing but give God all that glory because he opens up those doors. And I was so young when that all started with that choir. So working on BET was an amazing experience. It was unreal at the time.
So I have to ask, what was Steve Harvey like? Because that guy's hilarious.
He is exactly like you see him from a television or from afar. He is exactly that way. He's down to earth. He's hilarious. Had us rolling in between takes and having to cut and stuff because we're laughing. It was just fun, you know. Had a lot of fun with him.
Oh yeah, if I met Steve Harvey, he'd probably make me bust a gut for sure. I'll tell you that one.
Well, I tell you, he probably doesn't even know who I am by now because that was so long ago. But it was an honor. He is so funny. I'll never forget that time.
And going back a few years actually, you sang vocals for Yo-Yo. What was it like working with her, and how did you initially get hooked up with Yo-Yo?
Okay, so the thing with Yo-Yo, I think we were, if I'm not mistaken, because I get my timeline mixed up sometimes, but I believe it was around the time we worked with Pac. As a matter of fact, the album that we did that song with Yo-Yo on, Pac landed something on there too. It was a soundtrack that was inspired by the first Black Panther movie. And so when I met Yo-Yo, it was because my brother's publishing company, they reached out to do a production for her. And this was all around the time of Tales from the Hood and everything was going on. So it was an honor. And when I met her, it was like a immediate sisterhood. Me and my brother wrote and produced it together. She freestyled her verses like a one-take Jake.
Holy cow.
And I'll never forget that. And so my brother says that it really put an impression on her, the friendship that we encountered. And I reached out to her on Instagram not too long ago. She kind of didn't remember a little bit, but she did tap in. It was a nice experience that I'll never forget. Just the honor to be able to have an intimate moment, to work together, to have a powwow. Like, it was as if we had already known each other, all three of us, you know.
Yeah, especially with someone like her, you meet so many people, like, in 1 year, let alone years, right? So.
Right, exactly.
And so some people wouldn't understand it, but if you meet a lot of people, you're kind of just like, you need to refresh. I need a refresher.
Oh, I am so notorious for that. My memory has been, I have a million catalog of songs, of artists, I go blank sometimes in interviews just trying to remember because from birth, I have been downloaded with information and just teaching me and grooming me. So much catalog of stuff that I just go blank like, people be like, who inspired you? What kind of music did you grow up? I was like, and just went blank. And that's how bad it is. But what I do know is that the resume is so extensive that I can't help but go blank, but I have to give that glory up just for every opportunity that was granted to me. You know, and music has been just like a job for me, more so than a chance to really enjoy it. And now that I am getting back into the business, I can begin to enjoy it more. You know, so it's one of those things.
So, I remember on Instagram. I have a couple questions about Pac, and I remember your comments saying you might get a little emotional. If you want to skip the questions, you can. That's okay.
No problem.
I just wanted to ask, how did you and Tupac get connected, and what songs did all you guys do together?
Okay, so what happened was I was from a rap crew called TFA, and at the time, our front runners had an album, and they were signed to Interscope, and so one of those guys, Radio, he rests in peace. He was our front runner. I mean, he was our head guy. It's like the whole crew caved in now that he's not here. But at the time, they had such a bomb album going, and it was due to drop at the same date as Pop was. And so what happened was the company let my brother know that Pop wanted to reach out, wanted him to do some remixes and stuff. And, as you know, me and my brother are like tied to the hip. There are a lot of times where we separate and do separate things, but at the time we were already working together at the same studio, Sound Castle, where Pop was working and everything. And so my brother, he told me that Pac wanted Lord Knows done over, and he needed me for some vocals, which is usually what happens.
Yeah.
And so I was thankful for that. So when I talked to Pac on the phone, he had asked me. He was like, he wanted me to change the vocals. No shade to YNB or anything, but at the time he just wanted better vocals. He said. He didn't say it verbatim like that, but he wanted me to change the vocals. He said, Keema, please change these vocals and just do it all over. I said, okay. So I had some family that I grew up with that we had been developing as artists, and I vocal trained. I had been vocal training since I was young, and I brought a couple of them in, Yada and Rhonda, and we did the vocals over, the background vocals, and then they had me to do an ad-lib track. And later on, what happened was Interscope put YNB's ad-libs back onto the song and didn't use my ad-libs, but did the background. So I still listen to it now. So some of my ad-libs somewhere in there. But there is a version where it's only my ad-libs, but I promise you I don't know if anyone can find them. But that's how we got in touch with, how I ended up working with Pop. My brother, he had begun doing a remix for him already, like running. It had Stretch, rest in peace, on there. It had Pac on there, rest in peace. Yock, rest in peace, was on there. I believe Big Melky, who is now Edie Dunn. Edie, that's my point. So they put Radio. Huh?
I was going to say EDI went through a couple names.
Yeah, he did. As did I. So it was cool. But he wanted to put Radio from our crew on the hook. And it had like a reggae type of feel the way he brought the hook on there. And that was cool, So they began with that. I wasn't on that song, but I was, of course, always there with my brother when he's working, and just saw them developing these different things. And anytime Mo needed vocals or something, he's like, hey, come on. And I'm like, all right, I'm there. It was good.
And I gotta say, like I said, that's a very powerful song. One of my absolute favorites as well. Also, you did work on the, I'm not gonna say the name because I know my color, but the Young N. You did work on that song as well. What was that experience like?
Oh, okay. My bad. You did ask which song. Okay, so for Young Niggas, that was an amazing experience, and I'm gonna tell you why. The man that you hear on that song is G Money, the infamous G Money. He rests in peace as well. He's from our crew, and Pac loved him. I think the experience that was just enlightening for me, for Young Niggas, was watching Pac watch G Money do his vocals on the screen, on the vocal screen. He was just amazed, like, this nigga is bad. And it was like, and the night that we did that was such an impactful night that I think that's why the chemistry on there is so relevant, it's so prevalent. You can feel it. so heavy on there. We had a lot of bonding time that night. You know, we got drunk, of course. We did our thing, but we had time to really talk about some in-depth issues, and doing those songs, it gelled us together as a family in like a short moment of time. It was really crazy to me how that happened. But we also did Do for Love that night. We also did the song called Throw Your Hands Up, which is the one that's on the album with Yo-Yo, on the Pump Your Fist album, inspired by the Black Panther. And then we also had, Dramacidal was working on the album at the time. And Dramacidal, if you don't know, is the Outlaws when they were younger.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with that album?
I've listened to it a couple times. Never got my hands on an actual copy, but I have listened to the album quite a few times.
Okay, yeah, that was a wonderful experience because for whatever reason, the family bond just got so tight in those moments. And they were working on an album. Pac was working on his album. We were trying to, we were working on Radio's album and stuff like that. So we had time where all of us got to come together and just have time to hang, chill, and stuff like that. But then we also had these moments where it was just an intimate setting with just very few of us, the Outlaws, myself, my brother, and our engineer, Paul Arnold, And so it was about, let me see, how many songs? With Dramacidal, there's one called Tonight, or in the late, what is it? Yes, it's Tonight, I believe. And that one, they brought Jasmine Guy in. And I was like, what? Jasmine Guy sings? Oh my gosh, she's got a beautiful voice. She's got a thick, rich, heavy alto voice. And we sang the hook on that song for Dramacidal. And there was a song called Just Like Daddy that at this time Pac was in jail. And he used to call us on the speakerphone,
Yeah.
talk us through some of the sessions and check in with us and stuff like that. And I happened to have my daughter with me at the time, my oldest daughter. She was about 9 months or so. And so he heard her little voice in the background. He said, I want to hear her on the next shit that I hear. On the next thing y'all record, I want to hear her voice. So I was like, okay. So we had to figure out what he wanted to do with that. And I didn't end up singing on that song. It was called Just Like Daddy. It was the original version of that, not the one that came out later. And you could just hear me talking mess like I was his Aunt Glo. And you could hear my daughter whining and crying in the back, stuff like that. But there was also a song called Thug Life that he wanted me to sing the hook on, and my brother did the tracks for. And I'm not sure a lot of people have heard that, but it turned out to be a pretty dope cut. Did you get a chance to hear that?
Yes, I have. You mean Just Like Daddy, correct?
That one was Thug Life. Thug Life.
Okay, yes, I've heard that one, yeah, like a while ago. I would say a while back, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's crazy, though, like, back in the day when I listened to the music, like, I heard the vocalists, but they never, unfortunately, not a lot of the vocalists really get their names on the covers, right? So,
yeah,
I've learned, since I've been talking with you, I've learned, like, I was like, wow, okay. Like, I did not know that was you at first.
Oh, okay.
And then now that we've been talking, like, I'm going back before I did my radio show. Before that, I used to know a lot. I used to think I knew a lot, I should say. And then I started learning, and I'm like, okay.
Always room to learn, always. I'm still learning.
Because the Just Like Daddy song, like, I've always wondered, like, who it was that was, like, like you told me over DM, like, talking shit, you know what I mean? So I was like,
Right.
Who was that? And then when I booked you for the interview, you're like, oh, that's me. And I'm like, there we go.
Right. You learn something new every day. As of today, I learned that one of Nipsey's favorite songs was Lord Knows. I was like, wow, for real? I never met Nipsey.
And I have to ask, was that you as well on the, because he did a song called Death Around the Corner on Me Against the World, and it was kind of, I would say, similar to the Just Like Daddy with, like, the whole, like, Pac getting, well, EDI was getting yelled at in your version, but it was, Pac was getting yelled at, being like, all you're going to do is sit around with the AK, looking at the window, stuff like
right.
that. Was that you on
Exactly.
Death Around the Corner?
No, that wasn't me on that one.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that one particularly wasn't me. So a lot of the original stuff that I did with those guys and with Pop are underground, unsung, or unreleased. You know.
Which I think they should release that. You know what I mean? Back in the day, Interscope really didn't give the artists a voice, and they should have, because after all, it was their projects and their work. They should have let them choose who they wanted on the projects.
I so agree. I really do. And it's only right. But that's why I really appreciate that. I think that part is what I appreciate about being able to be an independent artist in the industry now, because you're not controlled by, you know, a major label to dictate what your purpose is, you know, what your image is, what, you know, who you are, what you do.
Exactly.
And I salute that, yeah.
But one thing I do want to add before we get off the Tupac topic, when I was younger, actually, I believe, when I was younger, I actually went through like 5 copies of Me Against the World. Like, I actually wore the disc out clean. Like, I made it go clear, yeah. So.
Wow.
Now I'm gonna be truthful, and it's unfortunate that album is actually very hard to come across nowadays. So I've been slowing down on the. I learned to buy a digital version. I should have learned that 5 copies ago. But I just wanted to say that because like it's one of my favorite albums, and I do, like I said in the beginning of the interview, I want to say thank you for your contribution to hip hop.
Oh wow, you're so welcome. You just don't know that all that glory goes up. I can't thank God enough for that opportunity, and just the fact that it did reach you and touch you and many others that way. I'm floored with that. I'm so humbled by that. I literally am. And so it's just like it's other songs that we did, like the So Many Tears. That was a really impactful song. And to this day, just really pricks my heart. And we did a remix for it. I don't know if you heard the Kia Z version, but songs like that, it makes me think about like what you're speaking of, how it touched you and how it contributed to the hip hop world. Because I have not been in touch with my fan base because I've been focused on some other things led to do, but to know that it did touch lives the way that it did, and it's still impacting lives is a major blessing to me.
And then,
always will be.
That's the same thing, kind of like what I told your brother the other night as well when I interviewed him, because a lot of people, they sit back and just say, oh, it was just Pac, right? But like, you know, I'm thankful to Pac most definitely, but you got to think of the people that helped put it together, that helped produce it. If it wasn't for the producer, it wasn't for the vocalists, you know what I mean? It really wouldn't be a complete project. You have to have those individuals part of that project as well. Therefore, it's not just Pac, it's everybody that contributes to that one single record.
It's so very important. I spoke about that in an interview for a book that'll be coming out with Kevin Powell. When that comes out, I'm definitely going to let you know so that you can look at the details. You'll really get to see the details of the connection that we had. I mean, it gets deep, it gets spiritual, but I think that has a lot to do with it, what you've mentioned, because the bonding time meant everything, and we had a moment. I'm not sure if he had these type of moments on death row or whatever because we weren't in contact then, but we had time to tap in spiritually and to really embrace each other as like real family. It was a moment where you didn't have to worry about, you know, if we were real to each other, if we supported each other genuinely, or was there an agenda. There was no ulterior motives here. And that's the kind of thing that manifests through music. And I take my hat off to my brother all the time because I watched him and Pop bond in a way that was unbelievable. I watched Mo when he did I don't know if you heard that version of Temptations my brother did.
I believe he sent me a link to it. I did check it out. It was actually very different than the original.
Oh, it is so amazing. I literally watched Mo lay this, switching instruments, going in like with the flu. He had a scarf on, his nose running, sore throat, but just knocking it out, you know. And Pac and he clicked so well because of their work ethic, and they work expediently, you know. And I literally watched them like form a brotherhood of working together. And Pac trusted him, and Mo trusted Pac, and they let each other function in their own niche area. Pac would write his lyrics while Mo was tracking the beat, and soon as Mo was finished tracking, because this was back when Synthi and all that stuff was going on, and you had to track the tracks and dump the tracks. So Mo did that so quickly and efficiently. Pac had time to write his lyrics, take a nap, and then get up, smoke, go in the booth with a cigarette, and lay the vocals one take. Like, amazing. And they had, yeah, both of them were machines, and that's why they love each other like that. I'll never forget that. So it's just an energy that was contributed from all of us around that time. Paul Arnold, even just the engineer, you don't find many engineers that can really manifest what he does through music. And I believe that pulls from a place deep within the core. And that was what was happening with all of us. The Young Thugs at the time, Dromacidal, Outlaw, all of them, they had, when they came, you know, they came with Pop. And they were so efficient at what they did. You know, even if sometimes Yacht, may he rest in peace, you could tell he was just kind of like really quiet and standoffish a little bit, kind of trying to figure out if he really wanted to do this or not. You know, he's real laid back.
Yeah, he was very, very young when he passed away, too. I believe he was 19. So if this was 95, he'd probably be like 16, 17 years old.
Exactly. That's exactly when I met them. So, you know, just to watch them develop and watch them just embrace the opportunity was amazing. Even at a time, Yacht may have been unsure if that's what he really wanted to do. You could kind of feel that in his vibe, but I tell you, when he got on that mic, fire.
Oh yeah,
So
I call whenever I listen to the song "Made N" with Pac and the Outlaws, when they had the 360 swivel camera going on. My name for Yaki Gaddafi is the lyrical assassin. That's what I call him. I'm like, oh, here he is, a lyrical assassin. Let's go.
Literally, but his personality was amazing. When he opened up, he was just like the best. He had the best heart, you know. Like, I don't know. I guess it's like with Pac, the way Pac was too. It depends on the way you rub them. If you rub them the wrong way, you're gonna get it, you know. But if you just be sincere and just simply who you are. I mean, the most genuine people, and we all had a sense of heaviness on us, stuff that we were going through. Life was happening, even for myself. But we still were able to glean from each other and pull out this energy to pour into this music that was something that lasted forever. And I'll never forget that.
And I have to also ask, you are also a part of the Morris Day Band alongside your brother Mosey MD. How did you end up joining Morris Day?
It's a quick but simple little story. My brother called. He's like, I'm coming to Cali. We doing the Kimmel show. I get to work with Snoopy, and we get to do the Kimmel show. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome. So you know me. Our normal thing is, okay, what time you get to the airport? I'm going to pick you up. You know, I'll take you where you need to go, blah, 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 blah. And he was like, well, actually, we need you to do some background vocals. I was like, oh. He said, yeah. He said, but you don't have to be on stage. You know, you can stand behind the stage. You guys can be behind the curtain and do your thing. And I was like, oh, good. Because at the time, I was at a place where I'm focused on some other things and wasn't really ready to step back to the platform, because I know that I have to be present and I don't want to let, you know, my people down because I'm trying to finish some other things. But he he told me that, and I told Morris at rehearsal, I said, well, we get to be behind the curtain though, right? And you know that look when he looks down and looks over his shades like, what? I was like, yeah. He said, no, because we learned the choreography, so I don't think so. I was like, oh, on, myself and Mo's girlfriend Tiff, we got this opportunity to do this background, and he happened to like us being a part of the band. He likes the new band, and I'm just ecstatic because I was thinking like, okay, well maybe he just needed vocals or a background group for the Kimmel Show, but it's like no, Morris loves his new band. You guys be ready to write new material, and I'm like, oh wow, okay, well, whew, I better get ready to get back up and going then, and that's what happened.
And speaking of getting ready to get up and get back and going, like you mentioned, Jimmy Kimmel, not too long ago, you were performing with Morris Day alongside your brother and Snoop Dogg. Live on national television, North America, live. If you're awake at midnight, guess what? You're watching Morris Day. What was that experience like?
Oh, unreal. Like, surreal unreal. Like, I can't believe what's going on. And I haven't been that comfortable in the longest. And just to feel, he made us feel like so at home. It was a comfortable feel. So that's why the vibe was so kicked back. You know what I mean? We got to see Snoopy again. And that was a good experience because it's been so many years, even from childhood. I know he did probably, I know he wanted to work with Mo. And, you could see the energy. It was like a family feel. And I was just ecstatic with that. Like, whoa, okay, I'm good with that. I could do this. Any other time I would have been like, nah, that's enough. I'm good. I'm going back over here. But I'm just really thankful for, it really reminded me of what I grew up doing and where I come from. And I just want to make sure that I'm fulfilling the purpose that I'm called to do. And with Morris giving us a chance like this, I couldn't be more thankful, more grateful, and ecstatic just to see what's going to happen,
And I do want to say, though, actually, I was telling you this as well before we went live, but I actually peeped that performance that you guys did with Snoop and Morris Day, and I got to say, you guys killed it. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
You're most certainly welcome. Normally I watch Jimmy Fallon, but I was like, all right, I'll cave and watch the other Jimmy tonight. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's love. That's love.
Either way, though, I gotta admit, Snoop Dogg, he was loving the performance as well. He was right into it.
Right, he did. I tell you, that was like a natural feel. He came in and killed it. He came to rehearsals, killed it. You know what I'm saying? Morris came to rehearsals, killed it. Smooth. Still dressed to kill, you know what I'm saying? But the vibe though was so genuine, and you can't help but the music can't help but be just the ultimate with that. You feel me?
And also, last month, Morris Day and the Times played the show in Ontario, California, and it was sold out. What was that experience like being in front of a sold out crowd?
Okay, so that particular show we were not in. Only because he still has his original band, and they've already been performing. So that I missed that performance, and just to be able to be there to support, I wasn't able to be there. But the guys, they did that. You got Mr. Freeze and Tori Ruffin and everybody else that part of his band still, Jerome and everybody, they still killed it. I can't wait to get back with him.
And speaking of getting back on stage, December 14th, you're going to be taking the stage for a charity event called Rock for Tots. Can you provide us with some more information? That way our listeners can come out and support you and a great cause.
Okay, so let me apologize for that. First of all, let me say thank you for even recognizing that. That's an event that we love to do every year with Jeremy Buck and the Bang. We usually, every year in Hermosa Beach, do the Christmas tree lighting. We do a full Christmas set, and we do a cover set. And this particular year, we were not able to do that. It's an all-star band, but all of the stars were booked this time. And it's interesting because Jeremy Buck is now part of Morris Day and the Time as well. And so we will be coming together to work together again, and I will definitely let you know when that's going to happen. But the Christmas show got canceled because of those reasons, and we should be able to resume next year because we've been doing it for quite a few years now. So.
Well, I want to say you're very welcome. That's what I normally do. I love doing my research to make sure that when we do the interview, we can promote something that the artist is doing. So, but hopefully next year, if you need another interview and you want to promote next year Rock for Tots, you can use my platform anytime.
That's a blessing. Thanks so much.
You're most
you guys bear
welcome.
with me. I'm getting back in the game. It's slowly but surely. Y'all bear with me, but when it finally gets to where it's going, I think we all gonna love it.
And one of the last questions I have for you this evening is, as we all know, you've worked with many legendary individuals, whether it's gospel, rap. So I think this question would be really good for some up and coming singers. What's some good advice you can give some inspiring singers?
Okay, because I hear a whole lot of really skilled and gifted vocalists out there. And I guess I would say, make sure you tap into what your purpose is. And I say that because, and you are a perfect example of that. And you sharing with me how Me Against the World touched you. And the only way that could happen is because of what I carry within me. And I'm, of course, what I believe was carried in all the individuals. But if you tap into your purpose, and you're led to do, you're in it for a purposeful reason, it can be more effective. It'll go much further than you think. You know what I'm saying? You'll reach all of the people you're meant to tap into. I always tell the artists that I'm developing that, and not everybody has to see it this way, but this is the way that I see it. And believe it or not, it makes the delivery in my music most effective. And that is the understanding that my audience, my fan base, and all of that is not something for me to take in an egocentric way as if I'm some god and they have to bow to me and all that. I feel like it is an assignment. We tap in to reach people in a place where they need to be reached. And it doesn't have to be gospel-y. It doesn't have to be preachy and all of that. It doesn't have to be that. But what you carry within you, your perception of things, the positivity, your purpose, and what you know you're meant to do will help you target your audience. If you notice, I'm not boosting my posts or anything trying to reach out for new followers, because the way that I function is I believe that those that are really meant to receive from me, they will find me. I will be where I'm led to be, but I believe they will find me. And I feel like it's an assignment because we have the souls of people in our hands. And you never know what they're going through when they're listening to music or listening to our music and what they need at that time. But I believe if we stay positioned in our place of purpose in everything that we do, the things that generate from our vessel that we kick through our music and stuff is going to impact them in a way like never before, as opposed to just doing good idea music because it's dope. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And people listening to music but not really walking away with some form of value or empowerment to their soul. So that's just me. That's the Oracle thing.
And that's some very down-to-earth, very inspirational advice. And any actual vocalists that are listening, I think you should take that advice because they can't get any realer than that. Oracle, I have to ask, what's next for you? Like anything left on the agenda? Like any shows coming up? Any projects you want to promote?
Okay, so yeah, like as I said before, I am slowly but surely tapping in. I set my platform back up, namely because this thing happened with Morris Day. But what it has done is generate the opportunity to begin to release my music. I'm looking to release my first single, hopefully January-ish. And it's called Tens of Thousands. It's a song called Tens of Thousands that features Big to the Boy.
Oh.
And yeah. That's my piece right there, good fam. I'm telling you, good
actually
fam.
I have him coming on this month sometime as well, so I most definitely will touch base on that as well and tie both these interviews together.
Most definitely, Mr. One Take Jake himself. He's a powerful artist, and I'm honored to have him working with me. We worked together for some time. I had sat on what we had because I believe it's a certain time for things to be released. So if you guys, while you're following me, sometimes I know people may get a little bit impatient for me to get my stuff out there, but if we could understand that I'm regenerating all of my stuff and starting from scratch again. So I'm looking to release that single by January. I'm looking to release a second single by February. That one will be called Love. It features a wonderful sax player. His name is Corey, and I believe it's Corey Higgins, if I'm not mistaken, but he was one of the saxists for Kanye West a little bit ago, and he's just all over the place, a real phenomenal sax player. My brother produced it, and I wrote it and co-produced it with him. So those two things coming up, but as far as I know, I am finishing out a semester of school. I'm studying to be a physical therapist, and I'm also going to be having myself prepared and ready for whatever more they have coming, and I'll be spinning off of that. But, little gigs and stuff here and there, they do pop in, and I will definitely let you know and keep you posted. I got some studio times coming up with Miss Toy. I don't know if you heard of Miss Toy.
No, I haven't.
You can do it, put your back into it.
Okay, yes, all right. There you go.
You need to, look, you need to tap into my sis, I'm telling you. Tap into her. She's a walking empire. I took my hat off to her. Met her a long time ago through Rendezvous when working with New Edition. My brother was doing some production on their stuff. So, yeah, some stuff coming up. I got, those are the first and foremost. Dropping a couple singles from me. Trying to see what Morris wants because that's first and foremost right now. Finishing my semester up. And some things going on in the studio to prepare the release for y'all. I got videos I need to shoot. You see, I have my videos. But I will. But yeah, I appreciate that. Immortal, because I'm just starting again.
And you know what? I hope this interview actually, brings you more exposure, helps bring some shows and some more opportunities for you as well.
Thank you so much. My hope is that it will reach the souls that are meant to receive from that, and I believe you've done your part in that. Thank you so much for that.
You're most certainly welcome. After this broadcast, it's going to be on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Play Podcasts. I think 14, I want to say, I think it's like 10 to 14 different broadcasting providers, and then it's obviously going to be on YouTube just by itself, just the interview. So I try and make sure that I get the voice heard on every platform.
Dope. Thanks so much.
Hey, you're most certainly welcome. So, Oracle, this is the time in the interview that I have the artist that comes on the show a chance to give shout-outs to whomever they want to give shout-outs to, and also their social media handles. That way our listeners can follow you if they're not already doing that.
All right, awesome. Okay, so you can follow me on Instagram right now at Oracle Branded. You can follow me also on Facebook at The Oracle. I know there's another page called The Oracle. So I'm The Oracle at The Oracle Pub if you need to find me on Facebook. I want to shout out God. He is the only way that any of this could have taken place. Even meeting you and just it being confirmed what he's doing through my gift. So I have to shout out God. All glory goes up to him, Christ my Savior. And I want to shout out you, DJ Immortal. I watch you daily and see what you're doing, and I want to encourage you. I see that your followers, your numbers are building, and I want to encourage you. We start with small numbers, but don't be discouraged with that. I see even your wife is doing some things with the interviews and the actors. I thought that was phenomenal. I want to encourage you to continue doing your purpose, especially the fact that it has touched me in my life and my gift. It says a lot of how important it is. So just continue to do what you do. You'll run into some artists that are, maybe buttholes, assholes, or whatever, but just keep pushing and do what you do. Because there are people like me who appreciate it and don't mind tapping into who you are and what you're doing. I want to shout out. My daughter Rocky, who is in there tired, but she is like one of my greatest supports. She's doing an excellent job. She is an actress. She's a dancer, but she's first and foremost has a calling to kids, and so she works hard and goes to school. But daily, Oracle would not be who she is without that one. So I have to shout her out for y'all. I want to shout out my brother Mo. I can't thank him enough for just being who he is. When I came into this world, he was already being Mosey Star, Mosey MD, who he is right now, and just about every opportunity that I've been allowed to touch is because he had a willing heart to bring me in to work with him. And I'm just thankful to God for him and the gift that he has. I want to shout out family members that are, that we started out with, of course, that we'll never forget our main crew, like Ghetto Poetry. I got a cousin named S, Hollywood S, one of the dopest lyricists you could ever imagine, came out of Long Beach, and but her cousin Rap, her brother Rap, who was also in NGN. I don't know if you know about the Tales from the Hood soundtrack we worked on.
I've heard of that one, yeah.
Yeah, okay, and I was featured rapping on there with them. That was her brother and our cousin, Stroke. I want to shout them out because we have been through some times where a lot of discouragement takes place. We had a lot of downtime and just trying to figure out how to get afloat and get things going. And I just want to encourage them. You guys have a gift. Tap into your purpose. Do whatever you need to do to keep yourself healed and able to reach people that I know is your fan base already that you haven't even tapped in. I shout out all of Long Beach because we are going through it, and we're such a gifted and anointed city. It's amazing, all of the talent and skills that have come out of there, but we have a lot of fallen soldiers. And I just want to send my condolences to us all, and just hug us all with all that comfort because it's not easy. It's not an easy thing. But I encourage all of you from Long Beach. Y'all are so gifted. Y'all so talented. Tap into your purpose and get it done. Sly-Fi and a lot of the people that's still from my crew. I also want to shout out, and this is the last one. I want to shout out the main people that support me. There are people that have been reposting, and they have been tapping in and have been sincere people. Now, I'm an introvert, so it's not usual that I will go ahead and connect or contact someone or speak with someone, but I have been led to feel that it's been some real genuine energy. So I want to thank each and one of y'all for sharing and just helping me get known out there and reaching the people that need to hear from me. So I love you guys, and I can't thank you enough. And there it is.
I want to say, Oracle, thank you so much for coming up on my show, and also thank you so much for the kind words you said about me and my wife. I want to say that at first I was quiet because it's kind of like very powerful energy there, so I just was like, all right. But I want to say thank you very much for those kind words, and thank you so much for coming up on Outlaw Radio Live. And I hope you and your family have a wonderful Christmas, and we most definitely will keep in contact.
Most definitely. Thanks so much, DJ Immortal. Blessings to you all on the holidays as well, and all of your endeavors.
You're most certainly welcome, and have yourself a wonderful night. God bless.